All right, for everybody on the line, this is Rich Swerbinsky with the Mortgage Collaborative, and we are going to go ahead and get started in about 1 minute here. Oh, well, let's go ahead and get started. This is Rich Swerbinsky with the Mortgage Collaborative, and pleased to be joined by my friend, Anita Padilla-Fitzgerald, CEO of Megastar Finance. Anita, thanks for joining me this week.
Absolutely.
Awesome. And just a couple announce. One is we've got a couple notable sessions coming up on our Connect platform. We have one at 4 p.m. today, hosted by good partner Social Survey. They're actually giving away a copy of their CEO Scott Harris's book to everybody that attends at 4 o'clock today. It's about creating a wow for your employees and customers. I don't think we have any partner that has as many clients within our network as Social Survey. They've done a really good job. And then tomorrow, our friends at Plaza Home Mortgage are going to be doing a deep dive on 203K, which is seeing an uptick right now. If you can, get your application accepted by the lock desk over all the refi, evidently being abandoned to the homes, renovate their houses now. So they're going to do a 203K lending tomorrow. So this is this week more so weekly. 2 p.m. Eastern. Just kind of taking a look at what the hell's going on in the mortgage industry. No shortage of activity or things to talk about right now. And that's just what this session is going to be. Each week, I'm going to look at what's going on in the industry. Each week, I'm picking kind of somebody from our network that I know will do a great job and navigating through issues of the moment. Next week, it is Anita. Oh, Anita, thanks again for joining us. So let's get started. There was a couple big acquisitions recently in the mortgage industry. Ellie Mae, no strange name to anyone in our industry. They were bought a couple years ago by a hedge fund, Thoma Bravo, for $3.6 billion, then sold for $11 billion last week to ICE, the company that owns MERS. So talk about return on investment. Anita, what was your reaction when you saw that news come across the wire?
Very interested, somewhat shocked. And I think that, Ellie Mae came out with a technology many years ago that I think resonated with loan officers, and they were able to acquire a lot of clients. It shows us that the ability to clients to use your software is, big money on the street. So with that, in the acquisition, in the sale, Ellie Mae does have a major portion of the market. The question really is how they're going to be able to keep momentum moving forward. So what we know in today's market, everybody is so busy with refinances that they're just dealing with it. But from my perspective, technologies need to be able to help business owners lower cost to produce, help business owners bring loan officers, processors into their model, and have an LOS that's user-friendly and easy to use. Ellie Mae, from what I understand, with other vendors that collaborate with them, isn't as user-friendly as maybe we'd like. Their cost factor is high. So when you look at the acquisition numbers, the 11 billion, I would wonder how sustainable that client base is going to be coming out of this market. Because I think that lenders will take a look at other LOSs and their frustrations and how they were able to manage the volume that they had with using to process loans. And addition to that, the cost factor that's involved and the amount of money that Ellie Mae to do a loan, I think other come in at a lower price with more with technology that's potentially easier for their employees to use and learn and be efficient with their models.
It's going to be interesting for sure. About half our members are on Encompass. The majority of them angry on some level. Some like the system, are just angry at the price increases they've seen recently. Some, echoing your sentiments just about kind of the functionality of the system and the ability to, make it more intuitive, I guess, without having to hire third parties to do so. Anytime somebody comes in and pays $11 billion for something that was bought for 3.6 a couple of years ago, that's obviously going to have some impact or a return on investment. And and at least, the members that I've talked this last pause, more concern for sure.
Then look at the quick video. So, and UMC, and looking, to your point in your communication this week with regard to them being the largest lenders in the United States, as independent mortgage bankers and banks and companies who have really business on relationships with loan officers who have relationships. So you look at what both of those companies have done, and I've been honored to have Bill and Dan have me out years ago, not that many years ago, to view their facility and to be able to quicken and see exactly how they originate those loans and how they manufacture those loans. Really, they have one person who does title commitments every day, one person who reviews the CU finding, another person who does a CU finding. Is a CU a 1 to 2.5 or is it over 0.5? What level of expertise do you need? And the ability to bring talent in and be able to get people up to speed quickly to manufacture. So UMC, same thing. They have a really nice technology that helps brokers. So the brokers can get in and really process their loan, and they add CRM to that. So, but when we look at those bits and we see what's going on in the industry, as brokers, we have to pay attention. We have to say, okay, how do we provide that same technology to officers? Because I believe that we'll pick a relationship over a relationship. People that they know, people who are in their communities, people who are giving back to those communities, people who have brick and mortar in those communities, who are employing the people who are competitive with regard to service by applying digital in addition to price, that we can be strong and we can continue to move forward. But what we're seeing with Quicken and UMC is they are taking a portion of the market, right? And they're doing it through the wholesale business. So how with us as business owners are we going to do that? So with Megastar this year, I introduced, because I studied models, and I said, oh, okay, situation, because you had staffing on your agenda too. We're all being, it's insane. Every day, processors, underwriters, closers being recruited. And these companies, there's a company in Denver, they're paying $80,000 to a processor, an average processor, plus $500 from $80,000 plus $500 from file one. Well, we all know that's not sustainable. We all know what's going on with our margins right now, which, it's great. I mean, it is what it is, right? And we can afford to pay that kind of money, but we also know the refi market will go away. So the question is, how do you keep your loan officers paying your service and do it at cost to produce that's reasonable? So I'll tell you what I did. I sat down and I said, okay, what do I really have here? So I know is we introduced a product, we call it the Refi Plus, the Megastar Modern Mortgage Refi Plus. And I say to loan officers, here's the deal. You get, which there's a lot of customers who are wage earners, commission, or bonus. If you have one of those and can get the W-2 and the pay stub and or a digital BOI, And then if you need assets, you can do a BOA or you can get a bank statement. And if you can do that, we can get your loan done in less than 10 business days. Easy, right? Why? Because Fannie Mae has given us DU. And all we have to do is validate that the data that we're putting into that system is an accurate number. When your DU finding is your underwriting. So what we did is I just took talented people, and there's a lot of people out there looking for jobs right now. And we bring them in. First thing we do is we teach them how to set up loans in our system, Loan Maps. So Loan Maps is fully integrated digitally. So the customer does their 1009 or the loan officer does a 1003, whichever. They enter their information and they get their drop down and they can price their loan easy, just back and forth. Then from there, they do their BOI. Then from there, they do their BOA. Then from there, and if they don't have those, they do income analysis on their built-in income sheet in the LOS. And it says, okay, what do you got? I got a wage earned, a salary, I got an overtime, I got a bonus, whatever it is you have. They run that. If we teach them, they use the rule tool. I say, okay, the first thing you're gonna do, young people who've never been in the mortgage business before, what does your 1003 say? Well, it says that they're a bonus. Okay, great. Now go to the rule tool and read, what does that say? It says, I need this, I need that. Okay, what does it say about commission? What did it say about dividend? What did it say about whatever? And they just read. They run it. The loan officer gets back an accept or an approval, and the documentation is there. So then the next step, so that all happens like in 24 hours. You basically have your approval from the agency, you have your documentation. What else do you need? In a lot of cases, you have a PIW, or you ordered the appraisal, you ordered the title, you've ordered your payoff. Now from then it moves to the second phase. We're at day 2. We call that fulfillment. So from there, we've taken some of our processors and promoted them and teach them just a little bit more. Not even processors, people who work in audit, people who know a little bit about language with regard to mortgage bankers. And then you teach them how to validate. So then they just make sure the file is really ready to be queued up to the underwriting team, that everything's in there. They go in with their conditions, which already defaulted directly from DU into Loan Maps. They make their conditions list. They submit it to underwriting. Underwriting sends it out. You haven't approved to close. You've already ordered title. You've already ordered your payoff. You've ordered what you need. Now, in some cases, you need an appraisal. A lot of cases, you need an appraisal. Well, if you have a 1 to 2.5, you already have you. You don't really need an underwriter to look at it. You just need somebody to check your hot point. They validate it, you move on. If it's over a 5, you're going to send your appraisal to underwriting because you need to assure that the value is there, and then you're done. And we are popping refis in and out of here in no time. So they're easy. But trying to find talent, oh my God, I'm saying I'm training my talent. I'm over it.
It's crazy. Yeah, I get at least 3 or 4 emails a day from recruiters that are representing like teams of underwriters and processors. I've never seen that before in my time in the industry. But one thing I want to touch on with you. So you talked about a couple big stories, Ellie Mae getting acquired and Black Knight buying Optimal Blue, Quicken, and the 2019 HMDA data coming out showing Quicken and wholesale mortgage 1 and 2 lenders out of Michigan in America. And, and I remember we had Quicken CEO Bill Emerson was out at one of our conferences. It was years ago. It was the Super Bowl that the Rocket Mortgage commercial first came out. It was like right either before or after that. I remember distinctly him talking about and he used specific numbers, because it wasn't like a recorded session. It was an astronomical amount of money that they had invested in technology and just the pain that caused, their balance sheet at the time, and, that they were kind of investing in the future. Now you fast forward 4 years later, it looks like that investment paid off. Where I'm going with all this is these big companies getting bigger and leveraging technology, with more technology still to come, stuff that's not even here, at least not fully. Artificial intelligence, document recognition, these, next level type things that exist on some level, that will even further expedite the process you mentioned was Quick. What are your thoughts as the CEO of an IMB that, you know, is doing $1.5 billion, $2 billion a year this year, a little bit more, how the economies of scale at your company, and step beyond that, like smaller companies? That's like if we're an organization of guys are a slightly larger than average member of ours. We've got a lot of members that are, you know, 300-400 million a year that they look at this landscape and they get nervous. You know, what are your thoughts on all that?
My thoughts are that it's going to be critical that independent mortgage bankers, all of us, are building and retaining the relationship with the consumer. That's, you know, the mortgage is still usually the highest ticket loan most consumers will take. Our homes are very important to us. And I believe that loan officers and us helping support loan officers to maintain that relationship with consumer is what's going to keep us going. So if you look at, you know, the financial markets industry, you know, Merrill Lynch, companies like that, where you had, you know, Schwab coming in and everybody's like, oh, okay, you know, these kind of positions are going to go away. I believe in the value of the loan officer. And the commission we pay is equivalent to what Quicken pays for their commercials and their TV ads and, you know, all of those companies. So, you know, Quicken is really for our market through media, and we're using that money to invest in loan officers. So as business owners, we say, okay, how do we make it easy and efficient for loan officers using digital to make sure that they too can get a loan approved while you're getting a cup of coffee, right? Because consumers seem to resonate to that. Being able to make it easy for them to use a digital VI and how the VOI works, how to help them use the VOA so that the customer understands what is required on their part and make it easy. And then staying in contact with these customers and making sure that you're giving them the information they need, you know, through RM and organizing their data. So our loan admin every day, they have what we call a scoreboard. It shows their activities. And I'm sure a lot of you guys have read the 4 disciplines. You've probably read Ninja Selling, you know, the laws of consistency, all of those sales initiatives, but managing the data for them. So they come into work today, they see their activities. Okay, I have 10 mortgage reviews. I have this many reviews, whatever it is they have, and staying in flow with those clients. So those clients look at the Quicken commercial and they think, oh, I'm going to go call Anita at Megastar. I'm not going to call Quicken, but Quicken kind of told me what was going on. Our other competition with UMC is different, right? You don't see UMC on the TV, but what you do see is UMC going after your loan officers and saying, hey, go become a broker. So how do you as a business owner make sure that you're bringing value to your loan officers that they're not going to get as an independent? So, you know, my speech always goes something to the fact that, okay, so you're going to go buy the pencils, you're going to do accounting, you're going to do the reading, you're going to do, you guys know the drill, right? In addition to that, though, more importantly, by embracing digital like we are today, our loan officer getting deals in it. I mean, they're making big, we're going to have a lot of $1 million people this year. And it's because I have given them that opportunity to teach them how to use these technologies, and then that allows them to use those technologies to move loans through the system. You know, I would challenge, why do you have experienced underwriter looking at CUs that have a score of 1? What's the point, right? Why not teach somebody just to go down a checklist to look for the items that we need to pay attention to, because the hard work of the value has been established by the agencies. We don't have to really compare the comps. We don't have to look at the line adjustments and the view, all that kind of stuff has been taken care of by the agencies. So the value you can bring to loan officers who would then in turn bring it to consumers, that's where as independents we really need to be aware of the technology. We need them, and we need to implement minimization so we can support loan officers and pay commission.
Very insightful. Yeah, I think that's great analysis, and doesn't worry me a little bit. I mean, like, companies like yours, all our members are doing so well, so flushed with volume, great margins, making tons of money right now. But I worry a little bit about, the bigger companies are making gobs of money as well right now. And, you combine that with emerging technology. I think you hit the nail on the head as the key to staying viable as a small to medium sized company. But I just think it's going to be really vital for lenders to stay vigilant and, make it about the relationship and, the advantages of being that size and nimble versus some of these big companies.
I think the other thing too, for people who are retaining their servicing, I mean, everybody's trying to gobble up servicing right now, including us. So, the more servicing, I mean, that's the whole play, isn't it? Right? Why did they buy Ellie Mae for $11 billion? Well, because they have so many customers writing them checks every year, every day, right? That's why they bought them for $11 billion. Why did Quickens go through? Because they have such a large reach to consumers. So your ability to keep clients is really important. In everyday loans to an aggregator, you're selling your client. I sit on a board for a big bank, and I sit and I listen and I hear. And client, there's no other way. There's no other ifs or, so to continue to move forward, I think if you're not selling to the agencies, it's something you really think about, because otherwise, selling your loans. UMC kind of got in a pickle over that because they told their brokers that they would have a non-solicitation, I believe, with the aggregators, and then they got in a situation where they weren't able to get their pools because the aggregators were like, no way, you need to move that clause from your agreement. And that's they want the asset, but they want the client.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to I guess the first ever talk to these last couple months, has led with just burnout of their employees. It has been a grind. It has been so busy, even this winter, pre-pandemic, and then obviously post-pandemic, everybody working from home, loan after loan after loan, and companies are trying to figure out how to combat burnout of their operational employees, how to retain their operational employees, and how to, maintain, instill for new employees culture at their company with everybody sitting in their office. What are some things you guys have done at Megastar to combat against that?
Well, we do a few things. One is we have mandatory camera on go-to meetings. And each department manager has somewhere one, some of them have 2 meetings per week, including myself. So our managers dial in, everybody on. We talk about challenges, where we are. We give reports on, where we are with volume and what have you. I did a fun thing. Everybody was doing virtual happy hours, and I bought everybody this thing called the mirror. So the mirror looks just like a full-length mirror, but this image comes on, and you can take exercise classes. So managers a mirror. We meet for a workout instead of, and we talk about our workouts, and we just have fun. It's important to have fun and appreciate. The other thing we did is I approached our salespeople and our branch managers. We do our bonus, and we'll definitely be generous by far more than we ever have been in the past because of how well we're doing. But I also asked the loan officers and the managers to start a retention funds. That's another thing we're doing, is taking retention money from their commissions into a retention fund in October next year. So that's because we're combating companies offering signing bonuses and, this ridiculous amount of money. And, we have to stop and remember that, of all, we have to be grateful. We are in a position that's just, I don't even know what to say. Honestly, I feel a little bit guilty about it, right? So our country's going through this COVID situation. There are people who have got whose businesses have been shut down. There are people who have lost their businesses. There are people who have family members that aren't working. So we need to remember to really be grateful. And from there, we have to look at the people who are working so hard, because without those people, we are nothing. Those employees, we are nothing. If our underwriters leave us, we are nothing. So, we have to give back. So that's what we're doing, and where people know that there's going to be part of that pot, that they're going to get that pot too. And, but again, if a company comes and offers you this signing bonus and an increase, they have to think of their family too. And we just have to step up and meet the offer. And maybe not that, but we need to let people know we care and we are going to share.
I think that's so spot on. I mean, I just think the way things are going, in a best case scenario, operational employees in the mortgage industry are going to be working from home much more, even companies that want to bring things back in the office. And some of the things I've heard from some of our members, heads of divisions, is, just operational employees, almost like they feel like they're almost independent contractors now. They can work from home and, and can do what they do for anybody in the country. And, the constantly looking for more money, but what it emboldened in me is what you just said, that importance of having strong company culture, having your employees identify with the brand and the company and not just, the pub. And it sounds like you're doing a lot of things to be ahead of the game there. So we have a couple minutes before we wrap up. What else is going on? What has your eyes and ears in the mortgage industry right now, outside of the stuff that we've been talking about here?
One of the things I think a lot about is the average age of the folks in our business, and who would be the next generation of originators. Megastar, we've been very fortunate in having a large retention percentage of loan officers with us, but a lot of our loan officers have been here since we opened. So, and they're my age, and I think to myself, okay, what's next? Where are the new loan officers going to come from? So that's big on my mind. And, again, we have a program where we started loan office young people in helping them get licensed while they're learning. They are also working in different departments doing things like loan setup. And then managing our portfolio, knowing what loans are paying off, requests. We also use MyBase to pay our portfolio. And that's where they learn. They learn how to make phone calls. They learn how to do IFWs, program pairs. They learn to communicate. They learn to look at their abundance of business and really learn what a loan officer does every day to grow their business and to grow, more importantly, relationships with families. So, and then from there, they are able to move on and go out on their own to originate loans. We'll still give them leads from our abundance of business, the servicing portfolio. And whether you have a servicing portfolio or not, you still have a database of clients that you've served over the years you've been in business. But eventually they need to learn to stand on their own. We follow the ninja selling we're big Ninja supporters and believe that if you help people, they will follow and they will help you too. So that's something that weighs on my mind, Rich.
Yeah, yeah, I'm looking for the silver lining in things, and you mentioned a lot, just some of the things the country's been going through in general. We've been very fortunate in our industry, and I've seen the opposite during this. The hope is that, this pandemic, once we get through it will have some really long-lasting positive impact on our industry. I think one, it's emboldened the value of your home to people. People have spent so much time in their homes that I think it has really emboldened the importance of a home, and obviously the financing of a home being a huge part of that. And then, just like to your point, bringing young people into the industry. I mean, really, ever since the 07, 08 madness, the mortgage industry has had a lessening, but some sort of a black cloud over it since that all happened. I mean, even now or a couple of years ago, you don't have young people looking to get into the industry the way they once did. Hopefully that gets reversed. So many people that have benefited from low rates on purchases, refinances. If you have good communication skills and a good head on your shoulders, anybody can make money as an LO in this climate. But even in a more normal climate, a job where you can get out of college and start making $100,000 a year pretty quickly if you got the right skill set. So my hope is that, what is happening right now has some positive impact on the future of our industry and the number of young people that want to get.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It's a great business.
Well, Anita, I'm sorry?
It's a great business.
Yep. Well, Anita, thank you very much for joining me. I really appreciate it. And for all of the attendees that we had on the line today, we'll be distributing this via podcast and video to our network in a bunch of different ways. And I think we've figured out now where you can just register for this every week. We're going to do this every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Just kind of take a look at what's going on in the mortgage industry. And I want to also give our friends at LB Aware a little love. I mentioned on one of the that if anybody wants to send me any of their, I'll represent it. So I got a bunch of stuff from members of ours, partners of ours. So continue to represent members of the network with the gear that you guys send in. So other than that, that is a wrap for this week. Anita, thank you. And everybody else, we'll see you again next same time, if not sooner. Take care, everyone.
Bye.